right, so let's talk about my journey about this no red thing that I've been talking about a lot. And if you notice, I had this camera for a long time, and I didn't realize I can use it for streaming. Way to go, techie. So, anyways, so what I did was did some setup to see what kind of design pattern I wanted to implement with React. So I chose Gatsby. Gatsby React. So you can just choose React, but I kind of like that pattern that Gatsby provides, especially with the routing and paging and stuff like that. It's very flexible. I even implemented my PM2, which, I'm a big PM2 fan. I like the scalability because in the beginning, everyone thinks add more servers, but I kind of like to do that scalability logically first, and then I want to add more hardware or more instances of a server. Also, it can help with memory management as well, and it gives a lot of logs as well. So I have my build process together and everything, and so let's go talk about a little bit about the design. So I've been working on just that first page every now and then when I can to get away from my kids and stuff like that. And so what I did was I started getting this together up to here. Okay. So since I got this together and everything, this is what it looks like. Okay. So if we go over to here, and here is what the website looks like so far. I've been playing around with it, and thank you, sweetie. Hold on, okay? I've been kind of playing around with it and everything. This is what I have so far, and I'm very surprised because usually the front end work in the past was like kind of a struggle for me, but I've been working on it for a long time. So I even have this stuff here. I even have a couple of things right here where if you were to take this and resize it, which I have to kind of work with this a little bit for the resizing factor and everything. And then down here, I even have this figured out on how this should work. I did use a template. So I used a template and altered a template that was given to me, kind of speed up the productivity and production. But as of right now, and then this right here, I might have to like kind of center this a little bit more. If you know, it might be kind of off. And then I got to work with a couple different resolutions and stuff like that. So this is what I have so far. I want it to look exactly like what the mock-up I did look like. There might be some fonts that I decided to keep as is. So like for instance, this font right here, I kind of liked how that turned out. And so right here, some of this stuff is reactive right now, So see, and that's right out of the box. I actually put Bootstrap on top of this, and that's how I speeded up my productivity and stuff like that. Now I would say this: these photos here, I got these for free. Eventually, what I want to do is do some shout outs to some of the people that actually contributed to some of the things that I'm using and stuff like that. I don't want to take full credit because I'm not a photographer, for one. So these came from a website where it's royalty free, and some of them want shout outs. So I might reach out to them and let them know that I use some of their images, like this image up here. And then the creator of that template, which made things a lot easier. I might try to do a shout out to that person as well, just to give them their props and stuff like that. That was just the implementation phase too. So all of this right here, I actually built this in HTML. So if you right click right here, I actually have some HTML that I'm starting to get going. And see, this is legit right here. This is not a picture. Okay. So another thing was that it's kind of messy in here right now. So eventually when I finish doing the decomposition and start working on a lot of the functionality and everything, a lot of this might go away right here because it'd be more encapsulated and the names might change a bit. In the layout here, see how you got divs here? I kind of don't like doing this because I want reusability. So this might end up being a component. Most of these sections might end up being components. So over time, when I want to make new pages, I can just stamp them into those new pages and the functionality comes with them. Another thing that I might implement is um, let's see, what was that other one that I wanted to implement? The routing. Okay, so I am going to use the routing that comes with Gatsby. I kind of like how the routing works. This routing to be a little bit special because I have a landing page, and I don't want the routing. If you notice, the navigation bars look different on the routing page than they look on the actual admin pages and stuff like that. So right here, this is that nav bar code. So I altered a lot of my nav bar stuff that came out of the template and kind of changed it and then added some new features to it. Added some CSS, like this inline CSS might go away. And then when we talk about performance, a lot of those images, I'm going to cut those images down. Okay. So once you get that Gatsby project running, it's very easy to get it up, and once you get it ready for development, it's easy to get it up and running. You just do a Gatsby develop because you'll have a CLI with it. Also, what I like about Gatsby is the fact that if you want to deploy this as a static website and not depend on Node.js, you depend on JavaScript. You can do that by doing a build, which right here you can see in my public right here. This right here is where it builds everything and it goes to the index page. So I can technically, because it transformed everything to JavaScript, technically I can run this site on an S3 bucket or something like that, and it runs for $10, and then it is still scale, long as you're not constantly, and it'll cache as well, long as you're not constantly writing the files or a cache or something like that, because that's simultaneous when it when you're using share files and stuff like that, it can be like a blocker for you or a performance blocker. But because of the artifacts it spit out, I can actually put this on S3 and it should run. This is how I did the deployments in the past and stuff like that. Whenever I want to do a deploy, I do a build. It builds everything. It minifies all of my JavaScript and stuff like that. Also, what I want to do is do some Gatling tests as well. So wherever I deploy it to, I'm going to do a lot of Gatling tests. So you can actually look up Gatling as well. It's kind of like for stress testing and stuff like that. And so that's what I have so far. My goal is to actually get this page done. Get this page right here done. And then I want to start moving into most of the admin stuff. So what I usually do is I get all the pages done. So all placeholders for the pages. And then I do this phase where I go through integrations. So what integrations is, for instance, when you click on this link, where does it go? When you click on this link, where does it go? And then how do you pull the data down? How things are loaded? How do you check security? How do you authenticate people? Just stuff like that. I do that last. So I have everything as a placeholder. And it's kind of like I do my front end development first, and then I start to work through my back end development. Now there's this phase in between where I stub a lot of the data that I expect to come to the front end. So if I have back end developers working on things and I'm working on front end things, I can stub some of that data and then show them what the stubs look like as to what I'm looking for. And then they will be able to say, okay, and then when we do the integrations, we wouldn't have to do very many changes. All we have to do is make the API call. So that's what I have so far, and I think it looked exactly like the mock-up so far. I did take the black background out of here. It gets kind of complex, and I didn't like the way it turned out. And remember, things look good on paper, but when you start developing it, you start to realize some things. Just like this green right here, I might end up turning this black or something like that, or some fancy text, so it can actually stand out to everybody. Okay. And looks like I'm missing a button right here, my Learn More button, which I had it down here. I have to figure out what happened to it. So let me see something. Where is that Learn More button? I wonder, did I push it down or something like that? Let's see. Let's go over to here, assuming it'll be here. Okay, so see, like right here, that learn more button is not showing up. So this is what I might do. What I might do is go over to that front end, and this is part of troubleshooting too. So maybe if I right click on this, inspect it, and figure out where did my learn more button go. And it could be when I started adding things, I kind of covered it up. So if I was to go right here, so see like right here, and so see how it doesn't show up where it should be or anything like that. So I do have a position relative on here, and so what I might can do is do something like this. Let's do bottom, because I'm assuming it might have moved down or something. And this is how I do a lot of my development. And let's see if it appears. There we go. See, that's the problem right there. So I can kind of, so if I go over here, and this is a perfect example of how I do a lot of my development. And see how I got that positioning right there? It was because I changed a lot of this stuff right here. And then what I can do is go over to my Gatsby, go over to that actual button that I had. So let's see where it is. I think it's kind of up here. Here we go, right here. So I can just replace this with this. And then let's go and do a refresh and make sure that button pops up in the final. So that was perfect right there. You actually got to see how I actually do my development, and one of the tools that I use to do some fast development and to test drive things and stuff like that, and how I finalize it. So usually what I do is whenever I'm going to make changes, I might put the class tag on there so it show up in here. Okay. But after that, I will alter that class tag. So for instance, I'll go and alter this very quickly so I can see what it looked like on the screen and everything before I make it finalized. So another test would be something like this. And see, that button is not, I don't expect that button to show up here because of the way I did the relativity, which I can make that button show up, but just to keep it simple, I'd rather for this upper text up here to just go away. And they just look through the things right here on their mobile phone. This is called the flex feature. And see, like right here, I have to determine what happens with this right here and what happens with this right here. So those are some of the flaws that I have to do. And see how that readjustment right here. So I actually messed up this button right here because both classes are attached. So what I'm going to do is go to this button right here. And I'm just going to do a real dirty fix to it. So right here, if I click on this button right here, and see how that button is out there like that, and it has the learn right there and all of that. So what I can do is, so if I do this right here, see how it goes to its right place? So something dirty that you can do is take this right here, and you can either give it a new class name, but for now, because I'm test fitting, what I'm going to do is I can possibly, actually I'm just going to do this right here. Let's take this, copy it. Actually, you know what? Let's just remove the class off of it. So if I go through and find that button and remove the class off of it, let's see what happens. I mean, actually remove this ID off of it. Let's see what happens. So if I go in and remove the ID from it, make it resize. I got some performance stuff that I have to look into. Let's see how it's back to its normal self. And then this one right here is not back. But let's see. After we do the reload. Okay. So yeah, it looked like this is back. Takes it a minute to load. And this is back here and it's fixed. Okay. So that's all I had to do. And then plus, remember, because I was developing very fast, trying to get stuff done. Excuse me. I did a no-no where I put the same ID on two elements, but you shouldn't do that. If that element needs to have like the same attributes of another element, you use a class. Okay, so just little stuff like that, and also classes help out and IDs help out when you want to do front end testing and automate front end testing. So you might go through web pages and you might see something very funny where it says where some of the IDs and classes is test dash question Q3 or something like that. That's what that is. So when they go through their test phases, they can identify what components did they test, what IDs did they hit and stuff like that, and use a log and stuff like that. So that's all I have. Thank you.